So when we come to talking about the economy, I think it's a big concern for everybody, and it's certainly constantly on the news that we are being told the country is in increasing debt, caused by things like Brexit, by COVID, what's going on in Ukraine. But in fact, our issues around debt started before then, really going back to the decade before austerity measures, because we started to see a reduction in investment in our key public services, but that led to also a reduction in the growth of our economy overall. If you actually look historically though, in fact, national debt is not the same as domestic household debt, and that's something that is not clear. That message does not come across. It's very different. If I'm in debt in my household, I'm, for example, borrowing a credit card, then the amount of money that I might be having to borrow could easily be 30% interest I'm paying per year. Whereas the government's got the ability to do one of two things. It can use quantitative easing, so in effect print its own money, and it can do that to a certain extent. The other thing it can do is it can also borrow money, and the way it does that is through using the private sector, so for example pension funds, and it will issue bonds. Now the amount of interest that they pay on those is tiny in comparison to the amount of interest that somebody may have to pay if they go into debt in their own home, and the period of payback can be extensive. And so in our current situation we're in a crisis, and the urgency of the need of the people in our country and our services in our country is not getting across. We know that the current economic plan, which has been used for the last 40 years, isn't actually working. We need a different way of doing things. Neither Labour nor the Conservatives are actually, though, looking at doing things differently, nor a reform. They're tinkering at the edges, and yes, it's possible to get money back from by revisiting the tax system, especially the higher income tax earners. Approximately £113 billion a year now is leaving our economy through tax loopholes and other means. That can be addressed, and we can certainly, I know the Conservatives have plans to start clawing some of that back. Labour are talking about clawing some of that back, but that's where it stops. What is actually being proposed, for example, by the leader of Unite, Sharon Brown, she is suggesting it's time actually to really seriously consider borrowing again in order to reinvest. And I happen to believe that actually she's right. Our public services are in desperate need of renewal, of investment. Our businesses need more support. We are facing a green technology revolution. If we don't jump on board that now, we will start seeing other countries taking a leap ahead of us, and ultimately that will cost our economy. The other thing is we know people are in desperate need of funds, especially, for example, around the benefit system, and our pensions as well, which are the lowest in Europe. If people have more money at home, they're not borrowing, they're not paying with these extortionate rates of interest, they then have more money that they can spend in the local economy. So it starts to feed back, so it helps your local businesses. They start to get more customers. The whole thing, those businesses which are the lifeblood and feed our services, can start to thrive again. And I believe quite passionately that we need to start thinking outside the box. We need to get away from this mindset of cut, and we need to start investing, not wasting money, that's different, but investing where it needs to be.